So today we are going to continue our work with finding quotients of whole numbers by using the standout algorithm. And we're going to use estimation today to help check our answer for reasonableness. So the first problem we're going to take a look at is on page 286. And it says a rock band records 8,944 minutes of music in 16 days. They record the same number of minutes of music each day. So that tells me that 16 is going to be my dividend. How many minutes of music does the band record in one day? So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do my estimate to check for reasonableness. So I'm going to say that 16 is going to be close to 15. And that 8,944 is going to be close to 9,000. So I'm going to do 9,000 divided by 15. And when I do 9,000 divided by 15, I'm going to get 600 because 90 divided by 15 is 6. And so those two zeros would have come over to the quotient. So 600 is going to be my answer. So my answer should be around 600 when I check for reasonableness. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to set up my division problem. So I'm going to do 16 goes into 8,944, and I'm going to see how many times it does that. And so I'm going to use what I know here with my estimation, and I'm going to see what 16 times 9 is, or 16 times 6 is going to be, and see if that math fact will work. So 6 times 6 is going to be 36. I regroup the 3. 6 times 1 is going to be 1, plus 3 is going to be 9. That's too big. So I'm going to go back a math fact to 5, and when I do 96 subtract 15, I get 80. Sorry, subtract 16, I get 80. And so now I have 9. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to bring down my 4. 16 is going to go into 94. It's going to go in there 5 times because we just did 16 times 6, and I know that that's too big. So I'm going to get 80. I'm going to subtract, and this time I have 14. I'm going to come up here, and then I'm going to bring down my 4. So I have 144. And I'm going to try and see how many times 16 is going to go into there. So 16 goes into 96 6 times. So I'm going to try 16 times 8 and see what I get. So when I do 16 times 8, 8 times 6 is going to be 48. I regroup the 4. 8 times 8 is 1. I'm sorry, 8 times 8 is 8 plus 4 is going to be 128. That's going to be work, but I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go up one math fact just to make sure that I can't get another 16 in there. So 8 and 6 is going to make 4. I regroup the 1. 1, 2, and 1 is going to be 4. So 144. So it's actually going to go in. 16 is going to go into 144 9 times. So I get 144. I subtract. I have 0 left over. 559 is a reasonable answer because it is near 600. Okay. Take a look down at your convince me. It says a jazz group recorded 8,232 minutes. Make that very small there. In 21 days. Okay. So 21 days is going to be my divisor. I'm going to have 8,232. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to give an estimate to assess that. So it says estimate the number of minutes of music recorded each day. Then find the exact number of minutes the band recorded each day. So my estimate, I'm going to take 20 or 21 and I'm going to round it to 20. And then I'm going to take 8,000 or 8,232 and I'm going to round it to 8,000. And then that will give me 400 as my estimate. So when I can get my answer, I'm going to compare it to 400 to see if it is a reasonable answer. So I look at how many times 21 is going to be able to go into 82. And it's going to go in there 3 times. And then when I do 21 multiplied by 3, I'm going to get 63. It didn't go in there 4 times because I knew that 1 times 4 would have been 80, or it would have been 4, and 4 is larger than 2. So that's how I got the 63. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to subtract. So I get 9. I get 19. I'm going to bring down my 3. Now I'm going to look at how many times 21 is going to go into 193. 193 is near 210, which is going to be 21 times 10. And so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go down a math fact. So I'm just going to do 210 and I'm going to subtract 21 and see what I get when I do that. So I get 10 minus 1 is 9. 10 minus 2 is 8. So I have 189. That'll work. So I'm going to put a 9 above the 3 and do 189. I'm going to subtract and then go ahead and do my regrouping. So 13 subtract 9 is going to be 4. 8 subtract 8 is going to be 0. 1 subtract 1 is going to be 0. So I just have 4. I bring down the 2. And then 21 is going to go into 42 2 times. So I get 42, subtract. I have 0 left over as my answer. It's a reasonable answer because 392 is near 400. Okay, take a look at your guys' guided practice. So your guided practice, it says in number 1, when finding the quotient of 4,676 divided by 64, which place would you begin dividing? How do you know? Okay, so we'll take a look at this. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to set it up in the box because sometimes it helps me to visualize and to see which place value. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do my dividing, and then let's talk about it. So again, we're working backwards. So the thousand place value, I can't put a value on the thousands because 64 is not able to go into 4. I can't put my first value here at 6 because 64 is not able to go into 46. It's too small of a number. So my first place that I'm going to put my number is actually going to be above the tens place because I can have 64 go into 4,067. So the tens place for number 1, the tens place is going to be my answer. And we know this because when I look at the actual division problem, I can see that these values are going to be too small, so I have to look at a 100 number for that. Another way that you can look at it is you can also use your estimation. So if I take 64 and I round it to 60, and then I take 4,676 and I say that number is near the math fact of 4,800. Okay, 48 is a math fact of 6. So then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use my multiple of 10 rule, get rid of some zeros. I'm going to get rid of that 0, bring it over here. 48 divided by 6 is going to be 8. So because I have a 2-digit estimate, that's the other way that I can tell that I need to start in the tens place value for my quotient. So we take a look at number 2. It says another rock band recorded 8,944 minutes in just 12 days. On average, how many minutes did the band spend recording each day? So I start with my value. So I look at the number of days. The number of days is my divisor. It's going to be 12. And then I need to make that a little lower so I have room to write. So, and then my quotient is going to be 8,944. Right. So when it says on average, average is going to be looking at the same amount each day. So it's going to tell me that is going to be the division problem. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do my estimation. And so I'm going to take 12 and I'm going to round it to 10. And I'm going to take 8,944 and I'm just going to do 8,900. And so when I get that, my answer should be around 890 would be a fairly reasonable answer. Okay, so if we look at this one, I have 12 is going to go into 89. It's going to go in there 7 times. That's going to be 84. I'm going to subtract. I have 5 left over. I bring down the 4. 12 is going to go into 54 4 times. That's going to be 48. I'm going to subtract. I have 6 left over. And then 12 is going to go into 64 5 times. And then I'm going to do 60. I'm going to subtract. I have 4 left over now. So I'm going to come up here because I ran out of room. And this is one where So the average is going to be about 745 minutes. But I'm going to go ahead and on this one, because it's looking for average, I'm going to do a decimal answer. So I'm going to put my decimal right here, and then I'm going to add a 0, and 12 is going to go into 40 3 times. That's going to give me 36. I'm going to subtract. I get 4, add a 0. It's going to go in there 3 times. I get 36. I subtract. I get 4 left over. Oh, that's a repeating decimal. So my answer for this problem is, on average, they're going to record 745 minutes and 33 hundredths of a minute per day. So I'm going to just make sure, because it was an answer that asked for a unit of measurement or label, that I give it a label. 3, I have 22,000 divided into 3,192. So 22, I'm going to do my estimation first. So 22, I'm actually going to turn into 20. And then the 31,092, I'm going to turn that into 3,200, because I can find half of 32, or one more zero. I did too many zeros. So 3,200. And so I'm going to take off my zeros, bring my 0 over here for my answer, take that off. 32 divided by 2 is going to be 16. So my answer is going to be near 160. So I'm going to go ahead and multiply. So 22 is going to go into 31 one time. I don't get 32, I get 22. So I'm going to subtract, and I get 11. Subtract 2 is going to be 9. I bring down my value here, and it's going to be 99. 22 is going to go into 99 4 times. 4 times 22 is going to be 88. When I subtract, I have 11 left over. I bring down the 2. 22 is going to go into 112 5 times, and that's going to be 110. So I'm going to subtract, and I have 2 left over. So my answer is going to be remainder 2. 145 remainder 2 is a reasonable answer because it is near 160. Okay, let's do one more. So I'm going to do, I'm just going to pop down and do number 6. So I have 62 is going to divide into 5,804. And so for my estimate, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make 62 60, and I'm going to make 5,804 into 6,000. And so I'm going to have an answer of around 100. So my answer should be around 100, and that's going to help me determine if I had a reasonable answer when I divide. So 62 is not going to be able to go into 58. It's going to have to go into 580. And since my answer is going to be near 100, I'm going to try 62 times 9 and see what I get. So 2 times 9 is going to be 18. I regroup. 9 times 6 is going to be 54, plus 1 is going to be 55. So that one will work. So I'll put a 9 here, and then I'm going to do 558. I'm going to subtract. I'll regroup here. So I have 10 subtract 8 is going to be 2. 7 subtract 5 is going to be 2. So now I have, and then 5 subtract 5 is 0. So I bring down my 4. 62 is going to go into 224. 6 goes into 22 about 3 times. So I'm going to try 62 times 3 off to the side and see what I get. So 2 times 3 is going to be 6. 6 times 3 is going to be 186. I can't get another 62 because 8 and 6 is going to be 4, and that's going to be too large for this value. So it's going to go in there 3 times, and I have 186, and I'm going to subtract. I'm going to regroup. 14 subtract 6 is going to be 8. I'm going to regroup. 11 subtract 8 is going to be 38. I don't have anything else to bring down, so my answer is going to be 93, remainder 38. So my answer is reasonable because it is near 100. Go ahead and do a work page instead of working in the book. I've set some problems aside for you that I want you to do. So at this point in time, you need to work on getting that practice page